Network Entertainment.
She's going to be questioned by a lot of people around her,
Right. Like,
saying, "Are you sure you really want to do this? Because you
okay.
can take a job
Okay.
which is more
Right.
comfortable, which pays the bills, etc., etc. Like, you're so smart, you can do a lot of things." So
Right.
people will dissuade you. They love you, but they're scared for you,
Right,
So
right.
that fear seeps in.
Building a business, it's kind of not really about the gender, right?
Mm.
You build a business, there are steps to take, there's strategies to apply, you can learn it. But as a woman, it's so nuanced because as we're building our business, as we're pinning down our mission and our why and our tactics, I have to pick up my kid at 3 p.m.
right.
There's just a lot of other social and cultural expectations that a lot of them I do embrace, but we do question how do we do it all or how do we prioritize? And this is where community is really important because we're not here to say this is the way to be a woman entrepreneur. But yes, we are all tackling all of these things. How are you doing it? What is your support system looking like? Which are probably not in the business books.
Hi, this is Mirza Season. Welcome to You Can Do This, a podcast that'll help you achieve your dreams and goals one episode at a time. What are you waiting for? Let's go!
Over the past decades, scientific studies have consistently shown that on most of the key traits that make leaders more effective, women tend to outperform men. Organizations and even entire nations benefit when led by women. We're just better leaders, really. And hello, women have been the backbone of families and communities for centuries. It's clear when women lead, things just work better. But the question remains, why are so many women still hitting glass ceilings and facing hurdles and barriers when it comes to leadership, decision making, and economic opportunities? Get this, only 2% of venture capital funding currently goes to women in the world. But research shows that female led startups outperform their male counterparts, generating 63% more value and twice as much per dollar invested. And women led startups are 5 times more likely to become billion-dollar companies compared to male led businesses. On the show today, not just to address but to help solve that injustice, are the founders of Imaginable Impact, an inclusion studio on a mission to co create a more diverse and equitable world where women thrive, helping change the game for women in leadership, not just for us, but for future generations. Nina Terol, an innovation and transformation leader working to drive social change, and Candice Quimpo, a brand builder, strategic storyteller, and creative collaborator for social impact. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to
I
be
know
here.
you guys are so busy because you're preparing for a big event, which we'll talk about later. So thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, Mirza. It's so nice to see you again.
You too. So today you're going to show us how to lead like a girl, right?
Yes, definitely.
Right. And it doesn't mean the same thing anymore as it used to mean, right? Like if they say you throw like a girl in decades past, it meant something else. And now to lead like a girl means what?
Well, to lead like a girl means to lead with empathy and to lead with compassion. And I think with an inclusive frame, like it's never me versus you or us
Right.
versus them.
Right.
It's now, how can we do things together and solve big problems together?
Right. More collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, but I also think when you lead like a girl, it's also in today's world, it really means having the courage to be who you are fully. And then also setting that example for other girls around you because that's where the collaborative spirit comes in. Is you kind of it's like peer support. Because if I can do it, then hey, I think you can do it also. So it really is building a village that's not just about you, but about everyone else.
Right. So it's like the Barbie world with the speech included, but including the cans also.
Yeah, including a lot more, lot more characters.
Right. So, nakakagigil yung statistics. What can you say about that?
Well, Here's the thing about statistics, right? So we see the numbers. The numbers are really tiny. 2% of venture capital going to female-led founders globally. In the Philippines, we actually are quite blind. We don't have
Oh, no stats.
disaggregated data. But and you contrast that with people thinking, oh, but the Philippines is already, advanced in terms of the gender gap and gender parity. And it's easy to get lost in the numbers. But when you go down to, everyday women
Right.
try to make a difference, trying to build businesses, you see that no matter what the numbers look like, you really have to also look at it from the perspective of lived experience.
Right.
But the gaps are more acute when you're a female who's trying to build a business that's maybe not just a micro enterprise. You're trying to build a scalable business. You're trying to look for resources. You want to be able to grow something. And that's where it gets really, really, really challenging. That even if you know the numbers are already dire, you want to be able to do something, right?
Right.
And the challenge is just more acute when you're facing that on a day-to-day basis.
Right. So we'll talk about those challenges later. But first, I'm curious, how did you come to do what you're doing now? Tell us the story of how Imaginable Impact came to be.
Oh God. So I think the short story is that Nina and I have been friends since college. We've been like involved in social impact stuff without knowing what that term was.
Oh.
Nina was in student council. I was very much involved in extracurricular, including the Comelec. So I actually filed her candidacy
Yes.
at a certain point. And down the line, we worked together both in the same company. She recruited me at one point. We tried to start our own company, very blind and very dumb about it, and closed that before it even started. And we kept in touch, right? We had our own lives. We built our own careers. And last year, she was transitioning. I was transitioning. I had just transitioned out. And we caught up. She had just I think the year before that, you had your Girls' Congress.
Yeah.
So we were talking about these things. And I said, so what's happening with that? And I think you were just stalled at that point.
Yeah, I mean, the Girls' Congress I put up in 2021 was the product of a grant from the U.S. Embassy.
wow.
So it was a one-time project. But I saw that there was the potential, young girls were looking for mentoring. They wanted big things. They were asking questions about, what about my career? What about mental health, body positivity, etc. So we knew that there were the seeds of a business. But looking at a lot of other things and, Candice also coaching me on what's the purpose of this business? What is my personal purpose as an entrepreneur? We came to that intersection of also our experiences as women aspiring to be entrepreneurs, seeing that many other, friends and other fellow entrepreneurs around us needed support. And there is something that can be done about it in a way that can be a business and it's not just a nonprofit or it's not just an advocacy. And that formed the seeds for Imaginable Impact.
The biggest thing here, I think, is a personal change for me and Nina. We're always the ones supporting, and it might be a womanly thing as well.
Yeah.
Right? I came from a lot of media and communications work where you're the storyteller, and my training or my practice was to be in the shadows. I'm never in the story. Whether you're supporting CEOs or you're supporting a celebrity, we're building events and campaigns and all of that. We're never part of that story, even if we believe in it. But when we're listening to other people and they're saying, oh, I wish there was a movement or a support system, but who's going to lead it? And I don't know at what point we're like, then let's do that. Let's be those people.
Yep.
And that's where we are
Might
now.
as well.
Yeah.
And so, what do you imagine will be the impact of your company?
Well, for Imaginable Impact as an inclusion studio, we are a platform, or that's what we're building, right? Programs and platforms that co-create this more equitable world for women. But what we're envisioning, for example, is to see more women step up to build businesses, because business, like entrepreneurship, can be life-changing. It can generate generational wealth beyond your lifetime, right? Provide not just for you and your family, but for future generations. So that would be one. And of course, corollary to that would be to see more investments in women entrepreneurs, like for people to see us as bankable businesswomen and say, I'm going to invest in you because you're building and solving problems for the future, for now and for the future. And I want to put my money here.
Right.
That's the impact we want to see.
And why do you think this is not happening yet? And how far do we have to go?
I think there are so many things happening that we just need to be able to unpack. There are so many levels. One is the personal level. With when you're raised in a country where as a woman, you're the caretaker, you're the problem solver, you're the secretary of the class, you're the note taker, you're the
Right.
party organizer. You kind of live out this narrative, not questioning it. And I think the first step is really how do we shift this story that we tell about women about what you can and cannot do. Textbooks themselves, I think they still have these roles embedded in the curriculum. So you can imagine how damaging that can be to a young girl thinking, okay, this is my path.
Right.
So we need to shift the conversation around that. And but not wait, right, for the system to change. We also have to start with ourselves. So we're tackling it in that way. First, we look at personal mindset. How can we create spaces and programs where we encourage each other to shift that mindset? The other thing is how do we co-create with ecosystem stakeholders and enablers to create a change, a systemic change? Because what's happening is that not for a lack of women wanting to step up, but they're not. I think we are also not finding our place in the system that exists right now. So what do we break and what do we build so things are better for all of us?
Right. Can you paint a picture of like a very concrete picture of what the scenario is like in the regular female, maybe aspiring founder to be in terms of like, okay, what if I put up a business? What is the climate for her that exists right now?
Ooh. Well, first, she's going to be questioned by a lot of people around her,
Right. Like-
saying, "Are you sure you really want to do this? Because you
Okay.
can take a job,
Okay.
which is more
right.
comfortable, which pays the bills, etc., etc. Like you're so smart, you can do a lot of things. So
Right.
people will dissuade you, right,
Right.
from even taking
So
that
your own
first step.
family
Oh yes,
and friends and maybe partner.
I mean, there will be skeptics, but they love you, but they're scared for you,
Right,
So
right.
that fear seeps in. It's a very, very strong fear. And then once you say no, but I'll give it a shot, there's of course the bureaucracy.
Okay.
Paperwork, right? And sometimes you also doubt, do I even know how to do this? What if I don't have the money to hire a lawyer, an accountant, etc.? So there are all of these things, but then you also get to and I'll ask Candice to help also articulate our own journey, like pinning down what's the business about, right? What's your purpose? What's the product? That's also not easy, especially if you're attempting to do something different that's not just buying and selling, or it's not been done before. It can really, really be scary.
Yeah, but building a business, it's kind of not really about the gender, right? You build a business, there are steps to take, there's strategies to apply, you can learn it. But as a woman, it's so nuanced because as we're building our business, as we're pinning down our mission and our why and our tactics, I have to pick up my kid at 3 p.m.
Right.
I have to go to a family reunion because if I don't, right?
Right.
There's just a lot of other social and cultural expectations that a lot of them I do embrace, but we do question how do we do it all or how do we prioritize? And this is where community is really important because we're not here to say this is the way to be a woman entrepreneur. But yes, we are all tackling all of these things. How are you doing it? What is your support system looking like? Which are probably not in the business books.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All
Right.
those special.
How do you build your personal village? And even how do you take care of your mental health? It's great that now that topic is open, right? But in previous generations, you had to suffer and go through the anxiety all by yourself, and you couldn't even talk about it with anyone else.
Yeah, I think the other thing is also looking for the role models. Even
Right.
Absolutely.
yeah, whether they're like celebrities like Melanie Perkins, right? Canva founder. Or just someone next to you who's already building something but probably not social media popular. You have to find your role models and they become also your peer mentors.
Right. I know quite a few wives who are allowed to work as long as the kids are picked up and there's food on the table. So they have to do all of that on top of what they want
Right.
for themselves. And they're
Yep.
always guilty, always rushing,
So the ideal
always tired.
always tired. But I think the ideal situation is that we're not doing this just for ourselves. It's not a selfish thing. If you have a family, whether it's you're married with children or a family because you're taking care of your mom or all of that, it is a ripple effect. And so the partnership starts in your own family. And if you are a woman entrepreneur, and I think this goes for men today as
Right,
well,
right,
because
right.
feminine leadership is not a gender issue, it's a mindset, and
mindset, yep.
approach. If I don't have a partner that's willing to go through this kind of thinking, I'm not going to be here today. I'll probably be at home doing something else.
Yep.
It's so critical that when we talk about shifting into empowering women, that everyone is involved.
Right, right. It's not just basta. This is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Basta,
Bahala kayo dyan.
I'll see you at 3 p.m. or I'll see you at
Oh.
8 p.m.
No, yeah, it's
Right.
it's really allyship because the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. I mean, the highs are really high and the
Right.
lows can be really low. So you really need your personal village to be there for you and to catch you in those moments when you really need support.
Right. On the positive side, what conditions or attitudes have improved or changed for the better?
This is exciting for us to witness because, well, for one, it's no longer men versus women. We're really
Okay.
seeing that even in our own origin story, it was, some pretty influential men in the ecosystem that said, hey, you know what, do this and we'll support you.
Okay.
Or, you know what, maybe we should get out of the way so that
Right.
you can do your
Wow.
thing. So
Yeah.
it's great to see that kind of support for starters.
There's that for sure. I think there's just been a change globally because the conversation has less borders, right? Little things like men having daughters
Okay.
really
that's
help
good.
because they also want a better world for their daughters. So we're able to crack that door open and say, hey, this is what they're doing. And then if they had not realized it before that, they will start thinking, oh, yeah, I recognize that. I'm seeing what you're seeing. How can we solve this? So, yes, we do have men allies. I think women are also starting to realize that we're not fighting for that one seat at the table anymore.
Yep.
We have to build our own tables, our own rooms. And as long as we keep this conversation going, we're less insecure. I really think so. That having less of a scarcity mindset and then more of this collaborative move forward. It's
Yeah.
just good for all of us. So we're seeing that in conversations we're having, one-on-one or in little events that we do host ourselves.
Yeah, and related to that, where somebody might have been your competitor, right, with another old mindset, we're now looking at, hey, how can we collaborate so that you
Okay.
can do what you do, we can do what we do, but in areas where we can intersect and amplify each other, we can do that. So the shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset and a collaborative mindset is very important because a rising tide lifts all boats, and we all want to help rise together.
Right. There's enough for everyone.
Yes.
Hindi mauubos.
Yes.
That and it's just a big problem. Why are we going to pretend that we can solve it by ourselves?
Right.
And so it's really allyship and companionship at the same time. If you think of it as competing, I think that's just an old language. We're not changing it. We're not saying that we're not going to try to be profitable and build profitable businesses along us. But that's not the point because the bigger narrative today is really about social impact. We belong to all one world. We're listening to news across the world as well. So if we're going to talk about making a change, but I'm the only one who can do it, it's counterintuitive.
Right. Right. So how do you specifically plan to change things? And what would be possible if you succeed?
Wow, okay, yeah. Now that's we'll take it one step at a time. But
right.
one of the things that's very important to us at Imaginable Impact is the brand we're creating for female entrepreneurs called Found Her. And what we're building for female founders is a path to investability. Now, why is that important? We believe that investing in women founders and the investments in their businesses will help grow these businesses, solve more problems, serve more people. It's really about a multiplier effect, and it can change economies, it can change countries, it can change generations. So the idealistic side of me personally is looking at the power of money and finance, right, for good. So that path to investability. And we will be creating programs and platforms in that regard, because it's a long leap from starting your business to being ready to face an investor, take other people's money to grow your business. We need to accompany women along that route, along that journey.
There are actually a few things that we do keep in mind with Founder and with Imaginable Impact itself. We mentioned community a lot of times, but that's just one out of five of the things that we think is important when you're trying to step into your power or help women step into their power. The second one really is competence. Because you can't just like, I'm going to do this. And then you don't build your skill set. So if you're building towards investability, then let's figure out what that means aside from your skill set and your mind, your knowledge about things and your business. What else do you need to do to be ready? You have to be a master of your business.
And you also have to know how to tell your story well, how to be able to pitch. So a lot of the things that we take for granted, we realize need more training and more support, more mentorship as well.
Yeah. The other thing that we've learned along the way and that we really appreciate is the need for a champion. So whether we champion other women and we open doors for them, we also need to seek champions for ourselves who will also open doors for us. And I think people forget that because it might be a woman thing, it might be an imposter syndrome thing, but we are not very good asking for help.
Or even receiving help.
Or receiving help, right? Is this, it's okay. All of that. But it's really important to know that people do want to champion you. If you have something good that you're building and you really believe in yourself, they feel that. And we've felt that in the last 8 months, people just saying, how can we help you? We really like what you're building.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's very staggering in the beginning. And we're like, what do we do? Our calls are like, okay, make sure you know what is your ask. Do not waste this person's time.
Yeah.
How do you make use of the time of the person who wants to champion you? And then reverse that also for the others. Like we offer the same thing.
So I think just to drive home that point, right? We, I guess as a female community also need to be better at asking and to be clearer at asking and then to be able to receive. So it's taken a lot of practice, but we're getting there. So we're now being a bit more specific about the asks because we know exactly, what we're building.
Yeah.
So the courage to ask for what you want relies on your confidence you have in your own abilities.
And clarity. So that really is connected to the other thing, right? Is having clarity in what you do and the mindset to identify it and to claim it. Because sometimes you know what you want to do, but you're not confident or courageous enough to say it out loud or even to yourself.
Right. So just to give the female listeners out there more confidence, what are women good at? When you mentioned earlier empathy, studies show we're good at emotional intelligence, collaboration. What else?
Yes. We're very good at building cultures, right? When you think about organizational culture, it's very often a female behind that. And when you're thinking of yourself as entrepreneur and then taking that step to be a CEO, and building an organization, you can actually shape culture. And I think that's going to be very important for your investors, for your customers. We're very good at taking care of people. So customer experience is something that we will likely excel at because we take the extra step to make sure people feel that they're cared for.
Yeah, in the matters of business, it's always about your customer, right? And what women do really well in leadership is think about the good of everyone. If you just look at the COVID response, the world leaders who really led their countries in a great way and protected them were women.
Right.
And there's no accident there. It's just the way that we look at problem solving.
Hey, what took you so long? I got lost. Huh? I got lost inside the mind of a genius. What? Can you imagine being at the center of 16 billion Da Vinci paintings through AI? It's like seeing what's inside Da Vinci's mind. The paintings are around you, and above you and right through you. Oh, I can't explain it. The whole experience is trippy and wild and seriously amazing. You have to see it for yourself. Check out BGC Immersive Presents Wisdom of Da Vinci, a celebration of art, light, and technology. Get lost inside the mind of a genius. Use the code You Can Do This 150 to get a special discount when booking your tickets at bgcimmersive.com.
It's an egoless
Mm-hmm.
style, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have ego, but I think we're also predisposed to think of others.
Yes.
It could be because I'm not sure. It could be programming. It could just really be biological. It could be both. But it's something we could definitely embrace and build, into something that is good for us as entrepreneurs. It's good for our audience, our customers, and our partners.
Right. So if in the past, in decades past, it was parang the goal was to act more like a man in business so that they don't look down upon you. Today, it's really capitalizing on your female strengths
Yes.
to
Well,
effectively lead.
We'd like to think so, but we're not going to be so blind to say that it's not going to be a hard road to do that. You're still going to be hit by a lot of pushback about, oh, why are you even crying becomes an issue,
Oh, yes.
Still.
Right? Tears in the
Right,
workplace.
right.
right? Or like, oh, you're too sensitive. Can't you take a joke? So there's a lot of education,
Still.
unlearning to be done, but I still think there is some openness everywhere. I think that's where the confidence comes in as well. But if you can't do it alone, it really helps to have community, your village, so that you know that you're experiencing the same thing.
Right. So you've stressed that it's not a gender war that you're promoting, but actually inclusion, diversity, and equality initiatives. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, for us, it's also building allyship, right? So on the side of Founder, we are actively engaging men and people from all genders to be part of this, because when women succeed at what they do, the ripple effects are tremendous. I mean, there are multiplier effects. We will be able to hire more people. We will be able to serve more people. We will be able to generate wealth that everybody can benefit from. So it's inviting everybody to be part of the conversation. There are other parts of our business, and one of them specifically talks about diversity, equity, inclusion in the workplace. And we also believe that that's an avenue, or that's a part that needs to be addressed, because people are longing to come to work as their authentic selves. Like, they do
Yes.
better at work when they
Right.
come to work feeling whole and like they're not having to hide a part of themselves. And corporations are opening up to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So we're beginning that conversation in the workplaces and in corporate Philippines as well.
Right. So what makes a woman, as you say, investable or a woman-led startup? Why should people who are not investing in women take a second look?
Oh yeah, of course. First of all, female entrepreneurs are really great at what they do, right? They dive deep into operations, into details, as you mentioned earlier, into your customers. So when you're investing in a female founder, you're investing in somebody who really cares about the people she's serving. It's not just about profit.
Right.
And that is the kind of business that will also generate more returns, because you're looking at the lifetime value of a customer, of a business relationship that you're building. That's one. Number two, women are great at building organizations, as I pointed out earlier. So it's never just about me, the founder or the CEO, etc. It's how do I take care of my people so they all show up as their best, and we all are able to solve problems together, deliver the best service. We've had men actually tell us that, women are really better also at the nitty gritty. Women can be great at numbers.
Yes.
It's not just men who are great at numbers. We've also had people in the academe tell us women are great coders. They're great programmers. So imagine future female chief technology officers. Right? We want to be able to carve out that path, because women can be good at all of these things.
Right.
We just need to finally give ourselves permission to believe it.
We need to not be the exception, because we have seen CTOs of New York, even Filipina, right?
Yeah.
And AI, experts. They're female, they're Asian, they're doing really well. But it's always the narrative of a Women's Day list or Women's Month list, or
Right.
that the women you
Only
need to
every
know
March.
every March, or
Mhm,
it's always
mhm.
an exception to the rule. So talking about women or inclusion shouldn't be like a CSR initiative.
Right.
This is really the way we have to move forward. And I think if we also listen to the younger generation, the Gen Zers, the millennials even, they're the ones who are teaching us this way forward, that we don't have to be stuck in how things have been done, which is also something that we thought was the right way to do growing up. You follow rules. Education
Yeah.
teaches you how to take really good tests, but now how to think outside of those tests. So having some comfort with some experimentation. We know it's going to be uncomfortable building this new world forward, keeping the conversation going, even if you're not agreeing with each other right now. And then let's see where that goes.
Right. And having said all of that, what does it mean when you say women have to own their power and rise up to their power? What does that entail?
It really starts with the story you tell yourself,
The story you tell yourself.
right? That I am capable, I have value to give, I have a mission, I have a purpose. I can be many things at the same time. I don't have to choose. I don't have to know everything. There's just a lot of things that you can start with yourself, whether with a coach, a friend, a mentor.
Yeah.
And then
And I am worth the money.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I don't have to defend or make excuses for, it's priced this way because like this, like
Yeah.
this. No, this is my price and I'm worth it, right? I'm worth the money you're investing in me and my service. I'm worth your investment. I can dream bigger. I am dreaming bigger. I can build things.
Right.
And it's not just about, taking care of people or being on the sidelines or assisting someone. I can actually also lead from the front, and I can be comfortable doing that. And I can bring others along with me as well.
So repeat after me. This is my price and I'm worth it.
for
Yes.
sure. And I think it helps to practice that. Know your number, say it to yourself in the mirror, because people will come asking. And if you're not ready with your worth, your price, your value, then the opportunity is gone.
Right. What have you had to unlearn and learn in this regard about owning your own power?
It starts with language too.
Okay.
The I'm sorry,
Yes.
apologizing for things
Starting
that
your sentences with sorry. Sorry if.
that I make sure I don't send any emails with these things, because there's really nothing to be sorry
Instead,
about.
you say thank you for your patience.
Yeah,
right?
or just-
or
just-
nothing.
Or be straightforward. Just go straight. Yeah.
Or I don't know if this makes sense, but
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
wrap it.
Negating ourselves, right? Before we even
Yeah.
begin.
Sorry. Diminishing yourself.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
or even ask ko lang po. Just ask it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being more efficient. So it's not so much being more manly, but how do we unlearn the things that we learned growing up, that you need to be in your place, the good
Right.
girl. I had to
Yeah.
People
unlearn.
pleasing.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Yes.
good behaved girl, because it doesn't get you far. Get you liked doesn't get you far.
Mm-hmm.
And how do men in general receive this?
Personally,
Yeah,
us,
personally.
I think we're surrounded with some good men.
Okay.
I think that's also important.
right,
If you want to step into your power, you need to curate the people in your life.
Yes. Yeah.
And
so-
that's both men and women.
Right,
So we've also noticed that as we went on this journey of building imaginable impact and sharing the mission behind it, we attracted the right people.
Okay.
But diba, like magnets will also repel. So
Right,
we
right.
also noticed that the people who probably aren't going to
Yeah.
be supportive aren't there. And it's
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Right? We're going to, have fun with the people in our playground, and we're going to build amazing things with them. And it's really amazing because people we never expected would be approaching us, coming to us, are reaching out. I mean, there's a lot to be said about resonating so strongly that people from everywhere are just reaching out to you and just want to be a part of it. So it's been a great discovery for us
Right.
as well.
Great. And so now you have sort of toolkit for us, like 5 ways to help all of us own and build our own power as female leaders.
Yes.
Would you
So
like to share?
yeah, so we've spoken about a few keywords like mindset.
Yeah,
is
let's
very
count
important.
them. So, right. So number one, you reframe your mindset, you build your confidence, and you fix your narrative, right? What you tell about yourself and how you belong in the community, in society, in the business. The second really is to build a community around you, a village.
Yeah, and building a village of people who will be there for you, but who can also be positive, I guess, sounding boards, or people who can give constructive feedback. Not all yes people, but people you can also parry and spar with. The third is competence. It's really important to know your business, know what arena you're in, know your mission, know your customers, because that's where the confidence will also come from. And that's where people will see the value of what you do. I'm worth it because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Let's bring back the champion. Because we do have ceilings to break and walls to get through. We have to find these door openers, right? The gatekeepers need to go away. So it's really important to know that this is the landscape and it helps to have champions and to accept the help.
And
And
where?
yeah,
Go ahead.
where to find them.
Yes. My
We-
next question.
It we think it really starts with knowing what you want and then going out there. I'm an introvert. It's really hard for me to go to events and to talk to people. But when you know what you're there for, you do, and you're talking about what you believe in, you do attract. You find them everywhere. I found them in past jobs. I found them in past relationships, other people's advisors. So sometimes you can just go and say, "Can I talk to you about something I'm building?" I think it's just really taking care of relationships and not making it transactional.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fifth is capital.
Okay.
And that's
Of
why
course, very important.
it's very important for our work to bridge women there, because again, we can only go so far on our own. But also having that village and that community also means a community that's willing to, give resources, whether it's clients who are willing to pay you for your work, or investors, right? Or the family and friends round. People who believe in you enough to say, "Hey, here I'll share my resources with you so you can put this up." And also just again dreaming big, that the higher, the more you want to be able to reach in your business, the more resources you're gonna need, and you have to be willing to ask for that and to go for it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
What do you think prevents all of us from asking? Culturally, right? We're not
Yeah.
Yeah.
raised to ask.
That really is it, isn't
It's a
it?
very big factor.
It is.
Yeah, so you need to seek if a framework, a script, a
Right.
coaching program that deprograms you to do this. It's cultural. It's the way our parents raised us to be humble.
Right.
All good values, but it doesn't work in business.
Yeah, and this belief, right, that if you deserve it, it'll come to you.
Yeah.
Or
Right, or
if
you
I
shouldn't
kill
seek something
myself
out.
working,
Yeah.
like I have to work 24 hours for me to deserve something this small, something not so big even. So
And you're not supposed to chase.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
it's
If they wanna book me, they'll find me. No, they won't.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. They won't,
They
right?
won't.
They won't. It's. I think artists know that, right? You need
Yeah.
to do it. People hate selling.
Yeah. I hate selling.
Unfortunately, everything is selling.
Yeah.
So that
everything is selling.
everything is selling. You're
Yes.
always selling yourself in some way, and it doesn't have to be a yucky word. It really means you know your value. You're looking for an exchange.
Yep.
You're not
Yep.
wasting your time, your resources, your talent. If you're going to put your best self out there, there has to be something in return. So if you know who you are, then you know the exchange is higher. And it could be a take it or leave it thing. It really depends on your comfort level, but that's kind of where you want to go because your customer will be attracted to what you're giving. It has to be. You're not, if you know who you're targeting, then you know that the price is right.
Yeah. She's really taught me that. So I'm so grateful to have her as a co-founder.
Yeah.
Great. So find someone who will teach you that, and you have imaginable impact. And found her. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
So, Founder is our platform for women entrepreneurs. And we've begun mounting a series of events called the Founder Forum. And the Founder Forum is about championing investing in Filipina founders. We have to start from here, right? We have to see the investability of Filipina founders. So we're going to be talking about growth, capital raising, investor management, all of the things that seem scary, but we'll do it as a community. We'll learn together so that we equip women with the competence, the knowledge, the networks, the connections they need to move forward on that path to investability.
Right. And your first event will happen on the day that this will be uploaded. So if people are not able to catch it, where can they, or will there be recordings or content about
So
it
yes,
that they can find?
yes. So we invite them to follow us at Imaginable Impact on various social media platforms. They can also check out our website, imaginableimpact.com. There will be content there for sure. But we encourage them to also stay tuned because the forum we're putting up is only the first of a series
Okay,
of
good.
other events and other programs.
Yeah, and we're very open to people reaching out
Yes,
to
ask,
us.
diba? Ask.
Yes, ask.
Yeah, we have to walk the talk. We really do want to understand what's happening on the ground. What we're learning is like data is amazing, but stories, it really gives you a different perspective. So even in the founder forum, we're gonna make sure that we spotlight at least one founder story. So we know the human side of raising capital, right? Finding investors, the toll it takes on a woman and what they're facing that we're probably blind to because there's not enough stories about it.
And if I may be able to ask anyway,
Yes.
for the students who might be listening, we are
Yeah.
open to internships and
Oh, there you go,
volunteers.
please.
Again, it takes a village to build this, and we need a lot of support at the moment. And if there are people who are willing to learn with us, practice their skills with us, we can do amazing things together.
Be a female founder in the making.
Yes.
Right. So here's my ask. If there's one takeaway, only one takeaway that listeners can get from our conversation today that will help them own their power and build their power as female leaders, what would that be?
You really have to actively rewrite the story you're telling about yourself. I'm still doing that at this very moment. It will take a while to do, but you have to actively, consciously do it because you can fall back into old patterns. And you have to be mindful of the story you're telling yourself every day so that you can show up as your most powerful self in front of other people.
Right.
I think you need to learn that you don't have to do it all by yourself. So I don't think we would be doing this on our own. It really just works as being co-founders. That's one. And then in that same thread, it's being self-aware to know for the what kind of help do you need? So you can look for that kind of support as well. So the self-awareness to ask for help and to be, again, specific about that because you cannot change things if you don't know what you're changing.
Great. On that note, thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you
today.
for having us. It's been great.
And it's October, not March. And hopefully these conversations will happen all year round, every day.
We'll make sure of it.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thanks so
Mirza.
much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to You Can Do This. If you want to know more about me, visit mirza.com. That's MYRZA.com. And follow me at Mirza Season on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you like this episode, please don't forget to rate it 5 stars. Hit the follow button on your podcast streaming platforms and hit the notification bell to get alerted every time we release a new episode. Catch you at our next convo, and always remember, you can do this.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.